There are stories in life that we simply can't explain with logic or science. These situations make us question the boundaries between reality and the unknown, often leaving us with more questions than answers. One such story that will intrigue you is one where a 2-year-old child points to her father's coffin. What happens next will leave you both fascinated and disturbed. But this story isn't just a spooky tale. It opens up a strange world where love, grief, betrayal, and secrets combine in unexpected ways, making it unlike anything you've heard before. You'll realize that a seemingly peaceful setting, like a church, can suddenly become the backdrop for a chilling mystery, something that feels almost like it belongs in a horror film. The story begins in a small church in a quiet village. It's a place where people gather to mourn, to reflect, and to pay their respects. Yet, this time everything feels different. A 2-year-old child, with innocent eyes and an expression full of wonder, begins to point at the coffin of her father. The air in the church becomes thick with tension, and what follows next is something no one could have anticipated. The words the child speaks, the gestures she makes, seem to defy all logical explanation. The people who are present in the church, priests, the elderly, and locals, are all left confused. They see only a child, too young to understand the complexities of death, yet she's acting as if she's perceiving something others can't. Clara, the mother of little Lucy, doesn't know what to think. How could her daughter be pointing at her husband's coffin and saying things that no one else can hear? What is Lucy seeing? What's happening in that moment, right before their eyes? For those present, it's unsettling. They can't understand what's going on, and to them it feels like something out of a nightmare. But Clara's instincts tell her something more is at play. What if her daughter is seeing something, someone, that no one else can? And what if the death of her husband, Samuel, wasn't as simple as it seemed? These questions hang in the air, unanswered. To uncover the truth, we must journey through a labyrinth of emotions, where love, grief, and a mother's instinct are pushed to their limits. What follows will keep you on the edge of your seat as we delve deeper into the strange and unsettling events that unfold. Clara's grief and the loss of her husband. As Clara's tears fall onto Samuel's jacket, the weight of her grief becomes unbearable. She cannot comprehend losing the love of her life, and the atmosphere in the church becomes heavy with silence. No one dares to speak, no one dares to move, because something feels off. Something in the air is strange. To Clara, this couldn't possibly be a coincidence. When she looks into the eyes of her daughter, Lucy, and hears the strange things her little girl is saying, a sense of foreboding grips her. Is it possible that Lucy is seeing something others can't? Could the death of Samuel hold more secrets than anyone is willing to acknowledge? Imagine the situation. You're witnessing the death of someone close to you, someone you loved deeply. But then, your child begins to lead you into a different world. A world where death may not be the end, where spirits, souls, or something beyond human understanding might still linger. Could you accept it? Would you have the courage to face what might lie beyond the grave? Clara, in her pain, finds herself confronting not just the physical loss of Samuel, but also the spiritual and emotional mysteries that arise. The idea that her husband may not be gone, or that something else is happening with his death, forces Clara to confront questions she never anticipated. Is there a hidden truth about Samuel's death? Can she trust the voice of her child? Or is it all just the imagination of a grieving mother? Unraveling the secrets behind the death. As Clara grapples with these questions, the people around her begin to notice even more strange occurrences. Why does Lucy insist that her father is still alive in the coffin? And what is causing the eerie noises coming from Samuel's resting place? As more and more inexplicable things happen, the suspicion begins to grow. Was Samuel's death really as sudden and natural as it seemed? The clues unfold slowly, revealing a web of secrets and hidden truths. But the more Clara learns, the more she is forced to question everything she thought she knew about life, death, and the afterlife. Was Samuel's death truly accidental? Or was it something far more sinister? Could the whispers of spirits, the unexplained actions of a child, and the cryptic signs from the world beyond be telling them something they're not ready to hear? The deeper we dive into this narrative, the more questions arise. And by the time we reach the final revelation, you'll understand how every small detail, every moment, has led to an inevitable conclusion that will shock and disturb you. As we move further into this haunting narrative, it becomes clear that Clara's life is no longer defined by the simple grief of losing a husband. The events that follow her husband's sudden death are neither straightforward nor easy to understand. With each passing day, the mystery deepens, and the boundary between the natural world and the supernatural begins to blur. The mysterious behavior of Lucy. It begins with Lucy's unsettling behavior. The first signs were subtle, tiny things that might be dismissed as the oddities of a grieving child. At first, it was just her pointing at the coffin, claiming to see her father standing beside it. But as the days passed, Lucy's behavior escalates in ways that challenge the logical mind. She insists on talking to her father, telling Clara that he's waiting for her. She even says that he's not gone, that he's just hiding. To Clara, these words are both heart-wrenching and terrifying. But Clara's disbelief soon gives way to something deeper, a gnawing sense that her daughter is speaking the truth, or at least, that something strange is happening. Lucy's innocent speech doesn't seem like mere imagination anymore. As the days pass, Clara notices changes in her daughter's behavior, something that can't easily be explained by grief or trauma. Lucy begins to sleepwalk, muttering words in a language Clara doesn't recognize, and at times, her eyes seem to look right through Clara, as if seeing something just beyond her reach. One particular incident sticks out in Clara's mind. One night, as Clara watches Lucy sleep, the child suddenly sits up and speaks in a voice that is entirely different, darker, more adult. "Daddy's not gone. He's in the shadows, waiting to come back." The hairs on Clara's neck stand on end as she listens, her heart pounding. Is this just the result of a child's imagination? Or could it be something more sinister? These strange episodes only escalate. Clara's once peaceful home now feels like a house on the edge of a nightmare, and every corner holds the potential for something inexplicable. She becomes more desperate to understand what is happening to her daughter. Is Lucy possessed? Or is there something far darker at work? Something connected to Samuel's death? Uncovering the truth about Samuel's death as Clara struggles to understand Lucy's behavior, she also begins to look into Samuel's death more deeply. She has always trusted that it was an accident, a random tragedy that happened too soon. But as she starts digging, she uncovers unsettling details. Samuel had been acting strange in the weeks leading up to his death. He was withdrawn, secretive, and seemed to be hiding something. Clara had chalked it up to stress from work and family life. But now, looking back, she wonders if there were things about his life that she never truly understood. Clara goes through Samuel's belongings, looking for clues, and that's when she finds it, an old journal. The pages are filled with cryptic entries, but one stands out in particular. "I've seen things I can't explain. I know they're after me. I can feel them getting closer." The last few entries speak of paranoia, fear, and the sense that someone or something was watching him. This revelation is a gut punch for Clara. The man she loved, the man she had trusted, had been hiding something. But what was it? What had Samuel been involved in that had made him so fearful? And could it be related to the strange events happening now? Clara's heart races as she begins to wonder if Samuel's death wasn't an accident after all, but something far more sinister. Could his death have been the result of something paranormal? Did Samuel know something that Clara didn't? Was Lucy's strange behavior a result of this hidden knowledge? A growing sense of unrest as Clara digs deeper into Samuel's past. The supernatural occurrences around her intensify. The house becomes a place of unease. There are strange noises, whispers in the night, doors that creak open on their own, and shadows that seem to shift when no one is looking. But it's not just the house that feels wrong. Clara begins to notice odd behavior in the people around her. Friends, family, even the local priest. They all seem to be avoiding her, offering half-hearted condolences, but there's a distance in their eyes. It's as if they know something that she doesn't. One afternoon, Clara receives a phone call from Samuel's old friend, Tom. Tom had been one of the few people Samuel was close to before his death, but after Samuel's passing, he became distant, avoiding any communication. Now he wants to meet with Clara. When Clara arrives at his office, she is struck by his nervousness. He avoids eye contact, fidgets in his seat, and seems almost uncomfortable in his own skin. "Clara, you need to stop digging," Tom says, his voice trembling. "You don't know what you're dealing with." His words send a chill down Clara's spine. She presses him, asking what he means, but Tom is reluctant to share anything. Instead, he gives her one warning: stay away from the church. There's more going on than you realize. Clara leaves the meeting, her mind reeling. Why is Tom so afraid? What is it about the church that she shouldn't know? His cryptic warning only deepens the mystery surrounding her husband's death and the strange events that have been unfolding. Clara's desire for answers grows stronger, but so does the fear that she's walking into something much darker than she can comprehend. The final clue, a terrifying revelation: Clara's investigation into Samuel's past, reaches its terrifying climax when she visits the church mentioned by Tom. It's a place that had always been a sanctuary for her, but now it feels more like a labyrinth of secrets and lies. As Clara enters the church, she's greeted by an oppressive silence. The air feels heavy, as if the walls themselves are holding their breath, waiting for something to happen. She finds herself drawn to a hidden room at the back of the church, an area she had never noticed before. Inside, she discovers an old altar and a set of ancient texts, their pages yellowed with age. As she flips through them, she comes across a name she recognizes: Samuel. It appears that Samuel had been involved in a secretive group within the church, a group that dabbled in the occult and spiritualism. The texts speak of rituals designed to contact the dead, to bring back those who had passed. Clara's heart races as she reads about the dark forces that could be summoned through these rituals. The revelation hits Clara like a ton of bricks. Samuel hadn't just been hiding his fear, he had been involved in something far more dangerous. The group's rituals may have brought him into contact with forces that he couldn't control, forces that had followed him into death and were now affecting his family. This is the moment Clara realizes that Lucy's behavior isn't just the result of a grieving child. It's something much darker. Samuel's involvement with the occult had opened a door that should never have been opened, and now it's up to Clara to close it before it's too late. The weight of the truth. With the truth now clear, Clara faces a heart-wrenching decision. Can she protect her daughter from whatever force has been unleashed? Can she undo the damage that Samuel's secrets have caused? And will the world she once knew ever be the same again? The tension is palpable, and Clara's journey is far from over. As she prepares to confront the terrifying truth behind Samuel's death and its consequences, she begins to understand that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than she ever imagined. Now that Clara has uncovered the sinister forces behind Samuel's death, She finds herself at a crossroads. The path ahead is unclear, but one thing is certain. She must confront the darkness that has haunted her family, or risk losing everything she holds dear. The deeper Clara delves into the mysteries surrounding Samuel's secret life, the more she realizes that everything she thought she knew about the world and about her husband was wrong. The struggle to protect Lucy. Clara knows she can no longer rely on the comfort of her everyday life, nor on the people around her who have been keeping secrets. She has learned the hard way that the supernatural doesn't care about the laws of the living. It plays by its own rules, rules that can twist and bend reality until nothing remains of the life she once knew. But her focus is clear. She must protect Lucy at all costs. Lucy's connection to the other side is growing stronger with each passing day, and Clara's attempts to shield her seem futile. The child speaks of things number 10-year-old should know, and her once innocent eyes now seem to reflect something ancient and unyielding. As Clara struggles to understand the full scope of what's happening to her daughter, she also starts to see the depths of her own fear. Every night, Clara lies awake, listening to the whispers in the walls, the chilling drafts that pass through the house, and the sense of being watched. But it's not just the house that's haunted. It's her own mind. Clara's growing. Dread becomes palpable. She begins to see her reflection in mirrors, but it's not just her own face staring back at her. There are flickers of something else, something darker, something Samuel left behind. She wonders if she's losing her grip on reality, or if she's truly being haunted by forces beyond her control. The last ritual, the final confrontation. Clara's investigation into the occult rituals leads her to the final piece of the puzzle. In the ancient texts she found in the church, there is a ritual, a final act that might help her sever the connection between Lucy and the other side, to close the door Samuel had foolishly opened. But this ritual comes with a price. It is not an act for the faint of heart, nor is it something that can be performed without consequence. As Clara prepares to carry out the ritual, the air around her seems to grow colder. The shadows in her house deepen, and the once familiar space now feels like a battleground between the living and the dead. Clara's heart pounds as she arranges the necessary symbols and items for the ritual. She knows that if she succeeds, she may save Lucy. But if she fails, the consequences will be far worse than she can imagine. The room in which Clara prepares the ritual feels like a place of finality, every inch heavy with the tension of what's to come. She begins to chant the incantations written in the ancient text, her voice shaking but determined. At first, nothing happens, and Clara starts to feel a flicker of hope. But then, a chill sweeps through the room, and the shadows around her begin to twist and writhe. Clara feels an unnatural pull, something pulling at her from within the very walls of the house. She feels a cold breath on her neck, and in the mirror across the room, she sees Samuel's face, his eyes dark and hollow. He watches her with an intensity that chills her to the bone. At that moment, Clara realizes something she had overlooked. Samuel's spirit is not gone. It's trapped, caught between this world and the next. His connection to Lucy isn't just a result of grief or spiritualism. It's the consequence of an unfinished act, a violent breach between life and death. Samuel's spirit is now part of something darker, something that threatens to consume both him and his family. The price of truth, breaking the cycle as the ritual reaches its peak. Clara is forced to make an impossible decision. She can either attempt to sever Samuel's tie to Lucy completely, banishing him once and for all, or she can try to communicate with him and offer him peace, helping him move on. Each choice has its risks, and each is fraught with uncertainty. In the end, Clara chooses to confront the truth. She speaks directly to Samuel's spirit, telling him that she knows the truth now, that his actions had consequences far beyond what he could have ever imagined. She tells him that she loves him, but that his death, and the dark forces he had unleashed, must be stopped for the sake of their daughter. As Clara speaks, the room grows colder still, and Samuel's face in the mirror twists into something monstrous. But Clara does not flinch. With a final, forceful utterance, she finishes the ritual, breaking the spiritual bond between Samuel and the house. The shadows recede, and for the first time in what feels like an eternity, Clara feels a wave of peace wash over her. Samuel's spirit has been freed, and the curse that had haunted their family is broken. A new beginning, healing, and moving forward. The aftermath of the ritual is quiet. The house feels different now, lighter, almost as though a weight has been lifted from the very air. Lucy's behavior begins to change almost immediately. She's calmer, more like the child she used to be. The darkness that had clung to her for so long seems to dissipate, leaving behind the innocence that had been lost. For Clara, the process of healing will take time. The memories of the past few months will never fully fade, but she has found a new strength in herself. She now understands that some things are beyond explanation, but that doesn't mean they are beyond her power to face. In confronting the darkness, Clara has found a kind of peace, one that she can share with Lucy as they begin to rebuild their lives together. As Clara and Lucy walk out into the light of a new day, Clara knows that they will carry the scars of their ordeal, but those scars will not define them. The past will always be a part of them, but it no longer has the power to control them. The world may be full of mysteries and darkness, but Clara has learned that with courage, love, and determination, even the most terrifying forces can be faced and overcome. The final lesson this story serves as a reminder that the supernatural is not something to be feared in isolation. It is something that, when confronted with an open heart and mind, can be understood. Clara's journey is one of growth, both in her understanding of the unknown and in her ability to navigate the emotional labyrinth that is grief and loss. Her courage to face the truth, no matter how painful, ultimately allowed her to break free from the cycle of fear and loss. In the end, Clara's story is not just one of supernatural terror. It is a story of redemption and healing. It teaches us that no matter how dark or insurmountable our challenges may seem, we always have the power to reclaim our lives. Even when faced with the most unimaginable horrors, there is a way forward, a way to embrace the light and to heal from the wounds of the past. Thank you so much for watching this touching and dramatic story. If this video moved you and you found it meaningful, don't forget to hit like to support us in bringing more amazing and inspiring content like this. We'd love for you to share this video with your friends and family so that they can also experience these incredible stories. And if you want to see more captivating, emotional, and mysterious videos like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on any future videos from us. Thanks again. Wishing you an amazing day ahead, and always remember to believe in the good things in life.